It says this hangout is on the air. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lunch with Len. So I think I'm gonna work at imitating Jackson a little bit. Come on in, folks. Glad to have you here. Hi, Ellen. Hello, Bill. Hello, Bob. Hello, Christy. Who else is on today? Oh, somebody dropped off. Oh, somebody's bouncing in and out. Wonder who's bouncing in and out. Anyhow, welcome. I'm glad to have you aboard. And there's a few things I want to talk about today. So let me just go ahead and start off in a little bit of a rant here. And that is, I realized, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I was chatting with Bob, and what I realized. You scared them acting like J-Man? Who else is on? Somebody else just came on. Larry. Hello, Larry. What I realized a couple of weeks ago is that when I look around at the people that are progressing the most rapidly, people that are coming on strong, and that you really begin to hear them and see the results coming from them. They're the people that are the implementers. They're the people that are doing things, really getting things done. One person that comes to mind who's not on our webinar today is Terry Grimau. And Terry's been called by Ray Higdon as one of the master implementers, one of the best implementers Ray has ever seen. And the thing that I realized is the key to success in this business is implementation. It's getting things done. It's doing things. It's taking action. And we've all talked about it before, but sometimes I don't know that we really do enough of it. So I want to talk to you a little bit about taking action today. And then the other thing I'm going to talk a little bit about is that in Florida, Ray Higdon last week did a presentation and his title was "The Things That I Wish I Had Known Earlier." And he repeated that presentation last night. He did a webinar. And if anyone was on that webinar last night, let me know in the chat. And Larry, I hope I'm not stealing your thunder from some of the things that you're going to talk about on Thursday, because Larry's going to be on Thursday. And we have chef salad for lunch today, J-Man. And Larry's going to tell us hopefully a little bit more about what went on in Florida. But look, let me make a point here. A couple weeks ago, I talked to you about something that I learned from Adam Chandler about Twitter. And we've all heard ILT. Ray started the ILT, and many people are encouraged to invest, learn, and then teach. And I could have started last week or a couple of weeks ago with, hey, I went to a webinar and Adam Chandler taught me this, and this is what I learned. And a lot of people encourage that. But let me show you something. This is my Twitter account. And analytics. And here's what I want to show you. Followers, up 85. So I've gained 85 followers. That's interesting. That number was 180 a couple hours ago. So I'm not sure what it's doing here. But at any rate, the point is that the number of followers that I'm gaining is going up, and you can see the curve kicking up, and you can see I've actually dropped off here in the last few days, and I need to get back on top of this thing and keep it moving. Here's the message that I want to give to you. It's by implementing these strategies that you actually get results that you can then turn around and publish. And I'm not quite ready to publish the Twitter results yet, but imagine if for the people that are on this webinar that are relatively new to this business, for example, if you picked up 100 or 200 new Twitter followers in the last week or two or three, whatever, that is a publishable result. You can make a webinar out of that. You can make a blog post out of that. You can make a lot of mileage out of that. And one of the people who is on the webinar today that's getting a lot of mileage out of the things that she's doing is Chris. And in fact, Chris, share my screen, Chris. I know there's a reason that I keep you around. Share my screen. Okay. Hopefully you can see my screen now. Now I got to go back and start Twitter up again, but that's all right. Twitter. There it is. So there's my Twitter page. And we go, I hope you can see that now. We just go to analytics, and under analytics, you can see my followers are up 85. Tweets are up 126% because I've been doing more tweeting, and followers are up 85. Picked up 85 new followers recently. And so what I've been doing is implementing the strategy that I talked to you about a couple of weeks ago, and that I actually learned from Adam Chandler. Notice my top tweet, network marketing success with ILDT. I want to come back to that in a second. So hopefully you saw that. Hello, Rick. Here's the message. I already said it, but the message is this. I introduced a new paradigm, acronym, call it whatever you want to call it, in the last 48 hours. I put out a blog post out there and distributed it as widely as I could. And I called it ILDT. And the reason is we want to invest. We certainly want to invest in ourselves. We want to go learn. We want to take courses. We want to go to the webinars. We want to do all of those things. We want to learn the material. And I've got lots of notebooks full of material. Believe me, I still have lots of uncashed checks, because when I started in this business several years ago, I didn't really appreciate the necessity of implementing this stuff. And it's taken me a while to really figure out some of these things that you really need to do. Yes, Larry. But the next step is the do step. We don't want to skip that do step. Sitting, writing blog posts about what I learned on a webinar last night is fine. But there's a lot more meat in the equation. If you actually implement what you learned on the webinar last night, you do it, and then you get a result, and you can publish a result. So being able to publish a result is really what's going to kick you up in this game. And one of the people who's really coming on, just a shining star right now, is Chris. And I know Chris is. I hope it's okay. Chris is going to be on the show. She was going to be on today, but she hasn't been feeling really good. So I hope you're feeling better, Chris. But talk about people that are just rocketing up the charts right now. And every place you turn around, you see Chris these days. And I'm going to leave her to talk about that when she's on the show. But she's really doing an incredible job. So once again, sort of circling back, then we actually have some people that are relatively new on the webinar today. And here's the deal. You really do want to, again, I'm going to repeat myself and then I'm going to go off on a different tangent, but you really do want to invest in yourself. And I'm going to come back to that in a few minutes when we talk about Ray Higdon too. But investing in yourself, learning the material, and then don't forget, for those of you who haven't heard it, all these notebooks that we have, and I have stacks of notebooks. They're uncashed checks. Ray calls them uncashed checks. And what you want to do is when you learn a new strategy, you immediately want to put it into action. You want to do it, and then generate a result. And once you've generated a result, now you really have some material that you can take to the marketplace and put in front of people. That makes it easy to jump up there and do a webinar. Hey, how I generated 200 new Twitter followers in, I don't know, a week or 2 weeks, whatever. So I'm going to encourage everybody to adopt ILDT, invest, learn, do, teach. And if you want to read more of what I had to say about it, go to my blog post. Go to lenmooney.com, and you'll see it's the first blog up on the blog post today, ILDT. And I put it all over the place out there. So 5 courses I've not done. Yeah. And, we're all guilty of that. We're guilty. We get in over our heads. We buy too many things. We do too much stuff. And we don't get everything done. But, we're all trying to head to the same place. And the more I realize, not yet, Ellen. I'm not ready to publish it yet. I want to kick that number up higher. I want to be more consistent with it, because right now I'm showing you the result that I'm getting amongst this family of close knit friends. And one of the things that you can see in that result is that I've been a little bit inconsistent with the implementation. It has a nice kick up on the slope, and then it goes flat, then it kicks up, then it goes flat. And that's one of the things that I have to work on is implementation. There is a Lunch with Len from a couple or 3 weeks ago, Alan, that I can get you a copy of, in which we touched on how to do this and how to get started with it. So I can get that for you. Okay, seemingly changing the subject. Larry, what's I don't understand that question. Who's that? If you're asking me a question, I don't understand it. Seemingly changing the subject. Let me go get a file up here. And I know I'm not screen sharing yet, so okay, I've got the file loaded. See if I can do this. I'm going to go back to screen share. Oh, close family and friends. I missed the context of the question. Yeah, like I said, Larry, I hope I'm not stealing too much of what you're going to cover on Thursday. I guess if I do, you'll have to cover some other things. But here goes the screen share, and now if I can just find the file that I just opened. There it is. So hopefully everybody can see this. And I'm not going to cover this whole thing. Ray did a webinar last night that he called here it is, What I Wish I Knew Earlier. And he made some really interesting points, and I'd like to share with you some of the points that he made. But here's the thing. He went through a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to go through, so I'm going to flip through this stuff really quick. Why isn't it? Oh, I know what's wrong. Shoot, where's the next button? What happened to the next button? Why isn't it there? Not going to let me do that. Oh, all right. I'm going to have to do it as a slideshow, but here's what we want to do. I want to skip through a few of these that are in the beginning, because I'll just show you what they are. He's going to give a presentation sharing things that he wished he had learned. That it'll help you generate more lead sales and make more money. And he asked the following quick question: how would it feel if you no longer had to worry about clients, leads, or even money? What would that feel like? And he talked a little bit about himself. Now, most of us who know Ray know that a few years ago he was in foreclosure. He lost a lot of things, and we're going to come back and talk about that in a minute. And since then, he's really grown. So here's the things. Here's some of the things that he talked about. Things he wished he knew earlier. You can accomplish anything you set your mind to. Now, we've spent time before on Lunch with Len and in other venues talking about the law of attraction and how important it is in our life, and how much we attract to ourselves what we think about, what our dominant thoughts are. Yet many people still struggle making the law of attraction work for them. And I think part of the reason for that is, and I know it was part of the reason for me for a long time, part of the reason is that we still are focused on the past or our fears of the future. I spent a lot of time worrying about, being angry at my mother for the way I was raised. And I've gotten over this stuff now. But if you're still focusing on your past, if you still have some leftover baggage from the days gone by, you just simply got to get rid of it. You got to find a way to let it go. You got to come to peace with the past. You got to realize that the past couldn't have been any different than it was. If it was different than it was, then you wouldn't be who you are today. You'd be something different. Maybe better, maybe worse, but not the same. You are who you are today because of everything that went behind you. Let it go, move on. And you can't spend any time worrying about the future. We're going to come back to that in a moment. You can't worry about it. That doesn't mean you can't plan it. That doesn't mean you can't set your goals. That doesn't mean that you can't get up every morning and visualize what your future is going to be like. And that is, in fact, what you have to do. You have to stay focused on what it is you want to accomplish and let anything that's bad in your past go away. Next. One of the things that Ray says he wished he knew earlier was to think bigger, which I find very intriguing. I'll bet most of us have a rather small set of goals for what we want to accomplish. Think bigger. Make your goals so big, so audacious that they scare the living hell out of you when you write them down on paper. Make them bigger. Go take a look at your goals. What are your financial goals for this year, next year, the year after? Make them bigger. Put a 0 at the end. Make your goals, don't make them unrealistic. Don't make your goal be, I'm going to earn $1 million next month if you've never earned a penny online before. But make it big enough that it scares you, that it really stretches you, that it really makes you want to move into something bigger than yourself, bigger than you can think about right now. One of the things that Ray says he wished he had known earlier was that he could have really great clients. He talked a little bit about, in the past, having other mentors tell him that coaching clients were a pain in the rear, that they didn't like their clients, that they bothered them, they pestered them. They were negative toward their clients. And Ray has come totally full circle on that. He has clients that he loves, that are very supportive, that are complimentary, that write, that do videos and write testimonials for him, and etc. And it's possible to have clients that you really love, that you really enjoy, that really become your best friend. And a lot of that comes from being a servant and really helping people, being sure that you have their best interests at heart. Next. Now, this is an interesting picture. What he wished he knew earlier is that you didn't have to take tiny steps up the ladder of success, that it's possible to move very, very quickly and to achieve a very high degree of success in a very short period of time. It's all mindset. It's all in believing what you can do. It's all in having your mind focused on what you want to accomplish and believing in yourself. Next. Now, I think we probably recognize the picture, but the point of this picture was this. What Ray said he wished he had known earlier was that he could live in the present, always be in the present. He finds himself taking a lot of time now and spending it with Samantha, the new baby, being present, being in the now. And this goes back to what I said a few moments ago. Living in the now, taking maximum advantage of today, and not worrying about the past and not worrying about the future, just being present. And perhaps his most important discovery, and coming from the corporate world many years ago, I can attest to this, perhaps his most important discovery was that it is possible to have a fabulous family life and a fabulous career at the same time. And I know for me, I spent many years in the corporate world, and during those many years, I wasn't present. I didn't see my kids. Whatever they did it without me. And I didn't see much of my wife either. Of course, we didn't stay married very long, the first one at least. And perhaps that was part of the reason. is we were strung out and too busy taking care of what we thought we were supposed to do, rather than being present, being with our family, and realizing that it's possible to have it all. Remember, if you think about it, if you go back to the thought processes of rich, wealthy people versus poor people, wealthy people believe they can have it all. Poor people focus on this or that. I can have my cake or I can eat it, but I can't have both. And rich people ask, why not? Why can't I have both? Almost done with this. I wish I knew earlier. Greatness begins beyond your comfort zone. For each and every one of us to grow, we have to stretch. We have to do new things. We have to try stuff that we were once afraid of and implement them and do them and then publish our results. We have to get in front of people. We have to make the phone calls. We have to make the connections. We have to do the things that are required in order for us to grow. Many people are uncomfortably miserable. They've learned to tolerate where they are in their life. They've learned to accept it, but they're not happy with it. So we've heard it many times. It's good to be reminded. Now, speaking of growing, I'm going to flip through a couple of things. Speaking of growing, I'll give you something to think about. Ray has two masterminds, and I know you can't read these. I don't want you to read them. I mean, you're welcome to read them. If you want them, I can send them to you, or you can go find Ray's webinar. Ray's got two masterminds. The inexpensive one, the Platinum Mastermind, starts at $18,000. If you pay in full today, you can be part of his mastermind for $18,000. If you want the big one, the real deal, then you have to come up with a little bit more money. That one is $48,000 if you pay in full today. Now you get 1 year of Ray, you get a lot of things. But here's the point I want to make here. I'm going to stop the sharing and I'm going to close the show. Here's the point I want to make. And why did I put that up there? Think big. I have a coaching program advertised on my website. I think it starts at $150 or $250. I don't remember. It starts at a relatively low number. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting that I'm Ray, and nor am I suggesting that anybody on this webinar is Ray today. I mean, what Ray has done in the last years, 7 years, whatever, is phenomenal. And we all know that his blog alone is bringing in, I don't remember the number, 1 or 2 million a year. I think he's on track to make somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 million this year in his business. And he projects that his business will be making $50 to $100 million. He doesn't put a time frame on that. Maybe he does in his own mind. He's got a time frame for that. And he's hiring people, and he's building a massive training and counseling organization. That's where Ray's going. For each and every one of us, Ray's an inspiration for me to look into the future and ask myself, where do I really want to be in 1, 2, 3, 5 years? And am I thinking big enough for myself? And I'd ask each and every one of you to consider that for yourself. So that's my message for today. Implement, do, get out there and get it done. And when you get a result, publish. Make webinars, make blog posts. Yeah, Larry, one of the things Ray stressed was charging too little for your coaching. And so, Larry, as far as I know, you're on to be on Thursday. And tell us a little bit about some of the rest of the stuff that went on in Florida. And does anyone else have any comments, questions, or suggestions? J-Man, we talked a little bit about some of this on Bob's show this morning. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Do you want to come over and chat for a minute or two, or are we good to go here? Bob, same question. Anybody want to come on over and add to the conversation, or do we call it a day? So I'm waiting to see results from the chat. So Larry, you'll be on Thursday. Chris is going to be on one day soon. As soon as she's feeling better, she'll let me know. And I'm just sort of waiting to see a response from Bob or Jax. Or, oh, you want to come over, Larry? Sure. Anybody else want to come over? Got something to add? I just clicked on you. There you come, Larry. Jackson, you got anything you'd like to say, buddy? I'll bring you on over. Here, I'm going to click Jackson, and I'm going to click Bob, and you guys can either accept or decline. It's up to you.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Larry.
Yeah, I was joking. I was joking in the chat that there's plenty of stuff to train on from Ray's event. I don't know if you saw the one comment I said, well, that's what I was going to train on. I just have to go to my backup, the fun and history of day drinking. So,
okay.
But you know, Curtis Broom was there.
Yeah.
And the guy is just phenomenal.
Uh-huh.
And Robert Hollis was in the audience, and he did a little training, but not much. But he actually joined Ray's mastermind. So I'm looking forward to getting to know him.
Cool. Okay.
But I will still have stuff to train on Thursday.
Okay, cool. So you're going to be on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. Jack said he's good, so that's okay. I clicked on Bob, and Bob disappeared off the face of the planet. So that either means I either kicked him out or he's on his way over. So we'll just wait for a second to see if Bob's actually going to show up over here. I don't know where he went. And anyone else want to come over and say something? Otherwise, Ellen says group hug, hug, hug. Thank you, Ellen. And again, I'm waiting to see if Bob shows up. So maybe he just dropped off the face of the earth. Maybe I kicked him out.
It really was a good event. It was a good event. They thought there were going to be like 65 people, and it ended up being 90.
Yeah, I wish I was there. I wish I was in there. Okay, well, I don't know what happened to Bob. He went away. Maybe he had something else to do, and maybe I kicked him out, and maybe he's got internet issues. So we'll just go ahead and close it down for the day. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Come on back on Thursday when Larry's going to be on, special guest, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what went on in Florida, and we'll go from there. You folks have a wonderful day. I hope you got value. If you did, let me know. We'll talk again. Bye for now.
Everybody.
Take care.